Welcome to Wine Time Mysteries, where we talk about true crime, the paranormal, mysteries, and cryptozoology with a dash of comedy. This podcast contains adult themes and is intended for mature audiences only. Don't forget to click follow and tickle that little notification bell. Now, find a comfy spot. We're about to start today's episode.
What the fuck? I haven't even started and you're already threatening to gouge my eyes out. Jesus bloody Christ. Welcome back. Shut up. Welcome back. I want to get it over with just as much as you do. Welcome back to Rosemary Part 2. Let's start off Part 2 with a short recap on what happened in Part 1. Go back and listen to Part 1 because we're not doing that.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so the last episode had some grisly stuff in it, and I'm sorry to inform you that this one does too, just as grisly. So Ashley, you probably need to hold on to your butt because you're not going to like it.
I'm so excited. I'm so not excited.
I hope not, because I would have some questions.
I'm holding my ass.
The police, they're coming to take me away again. The West's sexual appetite seems almost endless, as you would have heard in the previous episode. Rosemary seemed to want to dominate and inflict pain, while Fred watched and enjoyed seeing it happen. It wasn't really mentioned, but I'm sure he would have played a slightly less passive role in those situations too. While some people are mild to wild, the Wests went from wild to perverted and unfortunately into the taboo. A few months after they married, Fred and Rosemary took Fred's 8-year-old daughter down into the basement, where Rosemary demanded she remove her dress. Anna Marie would have been confused and frightened at the request, so upon her hesitation, Mary tore it from her body before she was restrained to a mattress and raped by her father, Fred. Rosemary actively encouraged the act as it happened.
I'm going home now.
Take me with you.
No.
Yes. I'll read it in the car.
Leave your phone here.
Okay. When it was over, her stepmother told her that, and I quote, "Everybody does it to every girl. It's a father's job. Don't worry, and don't say anything to anybody." Rosemary making it very clear that this was not going to be the only time it would happen. Both Fred and Rosemary threatened her that should they hear a word that it was divulged to anyone, she would be severely beaten. And Rosemary kept her promise and would occasionally sexually abuse Anna Marie herself, and for her own gratification, she would make her perform household chores while wearing sexual devices and miniskirts. Fred's involvement in these acts would continue, with Rosemary at the helm tying Anna Marie to various items of furniture for Fred to find her and rape her. That's your dad.
That's fucked.
That's...
How old is she again?
8. Sadly, Anna Marie's story doesn't end there, as she was forced into the West family business, upstairs, in the Red Room, as a prostitute at the age of 13. They would lie to the clients about her age and say that she was 16, and Rosemary would stay in the room during the act to ensure that she wouldn't tell her true age. Back to 1972, specifically October. The Wests decided that they needed a nanny to care for their children, so they hired a 17-year-old girl. You see where this is going? Mm-hmm. To do the required job.
Whoa!
Parkour! Caroline was picked up by the couple while hitchhiking, and after conversation about her disliking her stepfather and needing money, she was offered a part-time job. The job offer was to care for their 3 children, with an agreement to be driven home every Tuesday to see her family. Carolyn moved into the West house less than a week later, moving into Anna Marie's room with her. Caroline would ask about the men constantly coming to the house, and to explain the constant man traffic, Rosemary told Caroline that she was a masseuse. It wouldn't be long before she was on the receiving end of the couple's sexual advances, and she quickly made her mind up that she was going to leave and announced her plans to the pair.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Whoa!
Whoa!
Fuck. You're gonna be editing every Tuesday.
The two went along with it, whilst coming up with a plan to take advantage of her hitchhiking habits, intending to abduct, rape, and murder Caroline. The plan, however, changed, and in December of that same year, The pair apologized for their behavior and offered her a ride home. Caroline, being a 17-year-old at the time, believed that this was a sincere apology and jumped into the back seat of their car. Rosemary hopped in after her, explaining that she wanted to have a girls' chat and keep her company while Fred drove.
Red flag.
Red flag on the play! Only her intentions were nefarious, and she began to fondle the poor girl as Fred asked personal questions about her sex life with her boyfriend. As anyone in their right mind would, Caroline protested the questions, probably because they're discussing it inappropriate. So Fred pulled the car over and called her a fucking bitch and then knocked her out by punching her in the head. And Rosemary bound and gagged her with a scarf and duct tape.
I'm not surprised. I was going to say that escalated quickly, but no, I'm not surprised.
He rapes his children, so...
That's just nothing to him.
She was taken back to the house where she was drugged, and Rosemary held her down by her neck as she performed cunnilingus on her. Understanding how pointless it would be to struggle, she stopped resisting the sexual attack. Because you would get to a point, I know it's horrible, but you would get to a point where it's like, fighting is just consuming your energy, and it's literally a losing battle. So you kind of just disappear to that place.
Yeah, into that.
You go.
Yeah.
You just go.
Into the void.
Yeah, into that space between reality and your sanctuary. Once the attack ended, Fred threatened her that he would lock her up in the cellar for his black friends to abuse her, and then once they were done, he would bury her beneath the pavestones at the property. He claimed that he had murdered hundreds of young girls, adding that she was only brought to the house as something for Rosemary to play with. Can you imagine? In a strange twist, he asked her if she would continue on as the nanny.
I'd love to. What the fuck?
See, I was confused about that at first. But then I thought about the whole interaction that they had just had, and by the sounds of it, it was like he wanted to scare the ever-living shit out of her by turning himself into this evil monster, talking about murder, to intimidate her into staying. But I also kind of feel like if she said no, he probably would have just killed her.
Yeah.
To me, it is the same as a pedo saying, it's a little secret, don't tell anyone or you'll get in trouble. And you don't want to get in trouble, do you? It's the same kind of thing. It's revolting. And he was a nonce anyway, because, I mean...
A fucking mug on him.
Seeing the gift that this was, I know that sounds weird, but that's, to me, that's a get out of jail free card. Giving Caroline a chance to escape, she agreed and vacuumed the house. Luckily, she escaped later that day from a laundromat that she was taken to by Rosemary, and she returned home to her mum.
Oh, thank fuck.
Yeah, she lives.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, ooh.
As you would naturally expect, Caroline was too embarrassed to confide in her mother about the harrowing time that she had with the Wests and tried to keep it to herself. Only her mother noticed wounds on her body, like bruises, welts, and abrasions on her skin, and Caroline broke down, telling her everything. But imagine being a mum. Well, can you imagine what it's like to be a mum?
I have no idea what it's like to be a mum. I'm not a good mum.
Imagine being a mum, thinking your kids are fine or your kid is fine, and then you see that kind of shit and then they tell you what had just happened. I'm not going to the police, bitch. I'm coming to your house with a gun.
Yeah.
Nah, not even a gun. I would probably want to do it with my bare hands.
Yeah.
I would want to feel the life drain from your body.
Yeah.
Her mother wasted no time and contacted the police right away, reporting her daughter's ordeal, resulting in the arrest of Fred and Rosemary West for assault, indecent assault, actual bodily harm, and rape. But this will annoy you. It annoyed me. The case was tried at the Gloucestershire Magistrates Court on the 12th of January 1973, but Caroline would be unable to face the ordeal of testifying publicly to what happened to her, so all the charges were dropped. The Wests, however, pled guilty to reduced charges and were fined £50 each and were allowed to return home that same day. Owens heard that they were released and upon hearing that news tried to commit Sudoku.
Did you know why she couldn't attend?
She couldn't attend because the whole idea of going under a trial, under public scrutiny, under sitting in the same room as the people that did that to her, it was... She couldn't. She actually couldn't.
Sorry.
Yeah. It was like a trauma response. She couldn't do it.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was like literally something holding her up or like, yeah.
Yeah. It was like sitting there, and like this happened to her in 1972. The trial was in 1973. She wouldn't have had the time as a 17-year-old, and she would have still been 17 by that time. I don't think she would have had the time to process everything and get to a stage where she could talk about it.
She'd still be full victim.
As frustrating as that is, well, let's say survivor.
Yeah.
She's a survivor. But she wouldn't have had the tools to be able to deal with that.
But to me, it's the system as well. Like, you're just going to allow, because she can't come up here. Oh, well, too bad, so sad. Don't do that again.
But I also guess that that's a safety precaution to make sure that people aren't improperly convicted of crimes. There needs to be a trial.
Yeah, but then you let fuckers like this back out.
Yeah. Yeah. Up until 1992, many activities took place, from home abortions to rapes and murders. So many hideous acts, in fact, that I am not actually going to include them all because this case is mentally draining and I cannot wait for it to be done. Cue. The police would raid the home regularly, generally just the rooms that the lodgers were in, and it bothers me that they were on the hunt for little baggies of marijuana. Well, because of the kind of people that would stay in the homestead.
Yeah.
They were just like, they'd always hunt for them. But they failed to notice the prostitution that was happening and the abused children, or the bodies that were buried in the basement or outside in the yard. And it is absolutely baffling to me. But eventually, in August of 1992, Fred was arrested for raping his 13-year-old daughter 3 times, and Rosemary was arrested for child cruelty. Aiming for a home run, they wanted to get Anna Marie to testify, but again, it all fell apart because the star witness, in this case, their daughter, was unable to do so. And there is no judgment in that. I get it. Again, like before, like I get it. I believe they were released, but their children were removed from their custody and put into foster care. Thank fuck.
Yeah, thank God.
It was only now that questions were being raised about the first child the couple had together in 1970, their daughter, Heather. You know, when she got pregnant at 15?
Yeah.
Who had not been seen since 1987. This set a major investigation in motion, resulting in the arrest of Fred and Rosemary West in February of 1994. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about Heather. We don't really know too much before her disappearance, but we are aware of what may have triggered it. See, unfortunately, Anne-Marie was not the only child of the pair to experience physical and sexual abuse at their parents' hands. The difference in this case being that Heather confided in some friends about what was happening to her, and this got back to her parents, and before you know it, Heather had moved to Devonshire to work at a holiday village, her dismembered body being located under the patio. They would use that as a playful threat/reminder to their other children, and they would say, if you don't behave, you'll end up under the patio like Heather.
Oh, so fucked.
Yeah, but back to the investigation. It was during this time that people truly discovered the extent of their activities. Police found human remains, including that of Charmaine, her mother Rena, and Heather, along with others, buried in their basement / and torture chamber. They also found 99 home videos, and it is said that Fred had actually tried to sell these to the local video store, but was refused due to the sexually graphic content that was on them. The videos were destroyed by the police without being watched even once.
Oh, wow.
Which, while I understand could save someone without the mental fortitude from a breakdown, could have contained evidence of crimes, including murder.
Yeah, shit.
So I think it's dumb that they did that.
That's so dumb, because I was literally about to say some poor bastard would have had to sit down and watch all that.
No?
What the fuck? They literally could have murdered someone on there.
And there probably would have been
so much evidence.
Child rape. There could have been things that involved Anna Marie.
And when was that? 90? in the 90s.
Well, this was 94 that this all happened. Like, that it all came to light.
What the fuck? You should know better.
Yeah.
Better?
But it's not like... But I mean, again, it was filmed on like a home camcorder sort of thing. So they would have had the ability to view them, but decided not to and destroyed them.
I get it. I fucking get it.
I wouldn't want to watch that either.
That's your job, to put these fucking people away.
And you know what? What that could have also done... Because there were people out there that were having sex with their children too, that they pushed into prostitution, and these people would have known that they were not of legal age. You could have caught so many criminals. There would have been a pedophile ring that you would have been able to stop. Mm-hmm. Or not stop, but slow down or reduce or put people behind bars or do something. But instead, you decided to destroy all evidence.
That's dumb.
And then, do you know kind of what that makes me think, though?
What?
Was there some police involvement?
Well, obviously, no, not obviously, but like I had that little like, like if they were looking for drugs, but nothing. Yeah.
Why would you destroy?
Yeah.
What are we destroying?
Yeah.
Huh? While in remand, Fred bitched out and hung himself to avoid prosecution, but Rosemary went to trial.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
He killed himself.
Yeah.
Fucking little bitch. Not that killing yourself is you know what I mean?
No.
Like,
suicide in general and in the biggest picture is a horrible, sad thing. And it doesn't make you a bitch to do it.
No.
But the reasons behind why this little weasel decided to commit suicide was to avoid prosecution. That is different.
Yeah, because you're a fucking monster. Fucking own up, like face...
Play some music, dude. Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. She lied through her teeth, putting the entire blame on Fred, of whom, of course, was equally guilty, claiming that she even tried to stop one of the sexual assaults, claiming he committed all the criminal acts alone, denying any participation.
Mm-hmm. But he made it fucking easy for her. Kill yourself. Oh,
he was
it was all
bringing
him.
people. Yeah.
It was all him.
But I don't think that was his thing, because her shit was to pin it on him. I think his stuff was also pinning it on her.
Yeah.
He was doing that kind of shit in an interrogation, saying, well, she did it. She's got problems. She does have problems, because there are other things that I read, again, that I didn't include for not just brevity, but for, like, mental release for myself.
Yeah.
But she was known in her neighborhood.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the future, they discovered that she had raped her, like, younger brother. But she apparently would also make sexual advances at other boys in the neighborhood. So she kind of had built a name for herself.
Yeah. Fuck.
At 13.
That's fucked.
The trial went on for 7 weeks, and by November 22nd, she was found guilty of 10 murders and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. A judge, however, later took pity on her and reduced the sentence for Rosemary to only serve 25 years behind prison, no more, no less. But in 1997, the Home Secretary yeeted that amendment and subjected her to a full tariff, which is only the second time that the whole tariff would be imposed on a woman in the UK during modern times. She tried to appeal, but it failed. Rosemary West is 68 years old and still very much alive and behind bars where she belongs.
What a gint.
Sorry, not sorry, but sorry.
What a fucking cop-out. Oh, she's a lady. She didn't do it with her dainty lady hands.
Reading that and then seeing those photos of her again, like, knowing what she did, it was hard to reconcile these things that I'm reading versus this photo of this, okay, sure, she was kind of frumpy when she was a little bit older, but of this just matronly looking woman. You just wouldn't assume.
Yeah, like even her eyes didn't show, because you know how sometimes their eyes, like it's just
sometimes
like
you can see it.
Yeah, she looked so normal.
Yeah. It was
Satan.
It was just strange. Something was definitely wrong in her head. Is wrong in her head. She's not far away from being 69. She'll like that number probably.
Yeah, I hope she lives for a while though, and every day is very painful.
Physically, because I don't think she cares. I don't think she has the ability to care.
Yeah. Like, I hope she is in pain every day and lives to 100.
I want her to be miserable. I want her to share a cell with someone who snores extremely loud.
Yeah.
And has diarrhea every day.
Yeah.
And the toilet's right by your bed, bitch.
Yeah,
like,
and it stinks.
I want the worst for your life.
Yeah. Dog.
Yeah. I even watched an interview that Anna Marie did when she was an adult. And you could tell that she has been damaged. She's on 2 different types. I don't know if she's still alive now. This was like back in the 90s, but she's on 2 different types of antidepressants, and they were asking her questions, and it was funny because even after everything that happened to her, she didn't have hatred for either of them. She didn't. She's like, the thing that I had to remember is that, because Rosemary wasn't her mother, it was her stepmom.
Yeah.
She was like that she has a family and she has people that look up to her and she has people that she looks up to and loves, and she's a mum. And she's like, I knew what it was like to grow up without my mum, so I know how important that is to people. And she's close with her kids. Apparently they're close now that she's behind bars and they can't do anything. Her family apparently support her. I know. I guess it's kind of like Stockholm Syndrome, right?
That's so fucked.
But her response was crazy. She's like, I don't even have hate for my dad. I don't have hate for him. And I was like, I would.
Not a fucking strong girl.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
I mean, she's damaged now,
Yeah.
the poor thing, but I wouldn't have been able to do that.
I don't like this and I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, it's done. Thank goodness. And obviously that brings us to the end of this episode and I guess the case about Rosemary West.
No, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for listening and we will see you next week.
Share radar.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, Moonbeans.
Thank you. Bye.
Whoa! Parkour!